Hey guys, it's me. So just wanted to go through a quick tutorial with one of my favorite apps, which is MyFitnessPal. So MyFitnessPal is probably one of the best apps to have in terms of tracking calories. Now, there's a whole bunch of benefits that go into tracking calories, especially when you're trying to lose weight. Like I say, weight loss is math, it's not magic. So being aware of how many calories you're eating throughout the day is super important, and it's definitely a more guaranteed way of making sure that you're seeing the results that you want. And it's also just a really good way of being aware of what is in the food that you're eating. Like you may be eating something and not even knowing, how calorically dense it is. So tracking calories, without going into too much detail, is something I would recommend every single one of you do. And there might be some hesitation just because a lot of people have this idea of, it's really hard or it takes a lot of time and stuff like that. It's definitely not like food journaling where you have to write everything down and do a bunch of math. Luckily, we live in an awesome, technologically advanced world to where they have these apps that make it super easy. I know I spend about maybe 2 minutes a day logging in my stuff, just because once you start getting used to the app and once you start playing with it, it becomes second nature almost. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive in. So you're going to want to go ahead and sign up. I'm going to go ahead and sign up with email. So lose weight. Here, I would just say not very active. I do have a desk job. I do sit down most of the day. But even if you're kind of lightly active or do some physical activity throughout the day, Francis, I know that, you're running around, trying to catch up with kids all day. But if you can, try to use exercise as more of a cherry on top, or something supplemental, so that way you see better results, because if you're hedging in your exercise, then it's going to mess up your calorie goals, your calorie limit, and you're just not going to see results as fast. So you would always rather have exercise, just be that extra boost that gets you closer to your goal rather than something that you manage and something that you end up, eating more because of it. Like that meme I put in that article, I did 15 minutes of exercise, so now I'm going to go have 2 burgers, so we don't want that mentality. So again, just try to keep not very active on here. Female. Go ahead and put your birthday. Fill out all this stuff. It's today Wednesday. Okay. For here, I would probably go ahead and say 1.5 pounds. Just because, and the reason why I do this personally is because I know myself. I know on the weekends I tend to get a little looser with my diet. And, I'll have events, like for example, I have my best friend's wedding coming up on Saturday. So I know I'm going to eat, definitely outside of my diet on that day. So this just kind of helps me hedge for those weekends. And, if I do end up hitting my diet really well on the weekend and, doing exercise, then great, more weight I ended up losing at the end of the day. So either way, it's a win-win situation. So go ahead. So like I said, I would recommend doing the 1.5 for now. Email address, I'm just going to use my old work email since I don't use it anymore. Okay. Dummy address or dummy password. That off. Okay, great. So now they gave me a recommended daily net calorie goal, which is 1,200. And then it says I should lose 4.6 pounds by November. Now, of course, this 4.6 pounds is calculated purely off of calories. So if I were to eat 1,200 calories every day until November 1st and did nothing but sit on my ass, then I would still lose 4.6 pounds, is what this is saying. Now, obviously, if I do exercise, if I'm moving around a lot, if maybe I'm under my calories or something like that, it's going to adjust. So that's why it's always important to incorporate exercise as well. So feel free to keep, in terms of these check marks down here, feel free to keep the first one. Again, I would take off the second one just because we don't want exercise or physical activity to be calculated into the calorie goal, and I'll kind of go more into that later on. Okay, so here you have your entries. Now I'm going to go ahead and skip this part because we're going to get to this later. Okay, and then here's your home page. And from here, I just want you to go down to the lower right-hand corner. I want you to go to goals, all the information you just put in. Now, you're going to do calorie and macronutrient goals. So you're going to adjust this. I'm a firm believer in keeping everything pretty even, at least to start. It's always a good practice to just have a baseline. Now, the reason why I'm doing carbs lower is because you'd be surprised how little carbs we need throughout the day. I mean, unless you're training for a marathon or you're doing, like an hour swimming in the pool or something like that, you really don't need a lot of carbs, especially if they're complex carbs like vegetables. Then your 90 grams is a good amount. So just keep it here for now, and then of course, as you go along, you could go ahead and tweak it depending on how you feel. Like, let's say you are doing a lot of cardio and you feel sluggish afterwards, then feel free to boost that up, maybe put the fat down, and just kind of play around. And I would give it at least a month in between. So like do a month on this and then a month on, the adjustment, and then so on and so forth until you get a good ratio that you're comfortable with. So everyone's going to kind of be different depending on what they're doing. So just for now, keep it here as a good foundation, and it should adjust automatically. Great. And then you're going to go down here and go to settings, diary sharing, friends only. Now this is great because I'll be able to see your diary. I'll be able to see what you're eating. So this will be helpful for me and for the rest of the group, because we could definitely all friend each other. Just again adds that extra layer of accountability. And then it also helps me if you were to ever come to me and say, hey Jerica, I'm at my calorie limit every day, but for some reason I'm not losing as much weight as I thought. Like, can you look at maybe my food and see if there's something I could adjust to see better results? Then I could just go into MyFitnessPal and kind of see what what's going on, and see if we can make adjustments. And then also vice versa, you'll be able to see what I'm eating. So if you ever have, if you're ever wondering what's going on with that, then you could always check in on me and, see how my diet's going. So to add me as a friend, you're going to go to friends here, which is under your settings, add friend. You could just go ahead and add me with my email. I don't remember what my username is, but I will send that out just in case. So this is the email that you could use to find me, and you're going to put your name. I'm just going to say like Jessica. And then feel free to send me a message. Smiley faces are very welcomed. And then you're just going to click this check mark up here, and invitation was sent. I'll get your invitation. I will accept, and then we shall be friends. Okay, so now you're going to go to diary. So this is kind of where you're going to start logging in all of your food. So, and then you see you have kind of this equation up here. So that's kind of your benchmark in terms of what's remaining with your calories, what you need to hit, and such. I'll get into that a little bit more. So let's just go ahead and start. So let's just say you had an egg white omelet. So let's just put in egg whites and just put in the brand maybe. So Kirkland, which is the Costco brand. So you'll notice here there's a lot of entries, and this is because the reason why MyFitnessPal, has such a robust database is because